Greetings from the Utah State Capitol building in Salt Lake City, Utah. Today is Tuesday, April 16th, 2024. It is 5:02 p.m. Mountain Time and a very pleasant 60 degrees Fahrenheit with minimal wind. I'm just panning around 360 degrees so you can have a perspective. I did incorporate the Utah State Capitol building in a video once before. I think it was a couple years ago during the summer. It was like a 90-degree day that day, and I actually went inside the Utah State Capitol building and other things. But the reason I came by here today in April was to try to see the cherry blossoms that are at the Utah State Capitol. Unfortunately, I think I'm probably like 4 or 5 days too late to the party because even though it's still pretty, like when you go up close and look at the trees, it doesn't have that same like bright pinkish glow that they have in other pictures that I've seen. It looks like there's a few trees down there that may still be like that, but you can see a perspective of the red, but also all the green that's starting to mix in, and the bees buzzing around. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a full circular walk around the entire Utah State Capitol building, like around the perimeter, and then I'm going to sort of make my way back to like where I'm there, and then once I do that I'll end the video by going more up close to the Capitol building itself. But you can see certain portions of the trees, like up there, still have the full bloom nature of the cherry blossoms. But a week ago, just imagine that everything would have been that picture perfect pink color. The Capitol building is elevated, so downtown Salt Lake City is probably like, let's call it 7 or 8 blocks that way, maybe even more. But when you get high enough in certain views, you can actually look down on the downtown portion of the city. Similarly, if you're in downtown Salt Lake City, you can look up at certain angles and see the Utah State Capitol building. But it's also nice how people take advantage of the lawn area. And there's a bunch of monuments that surround the Capitol building as well. Down here you sort of have a short stretch where they haven't quite turned. Turned green. A lot of people like to do professional photo shoots down this way. You can go inside the Utah State Capitol building as well, and there's a lot of free exhibits for the public to view in there. I'm not sure what building they're constructing down that way. You can see a bunch of cranes and building material and a new structure going up. Lots of street parking for the public as well down that way. You can also visit the avenues, which is that area up above on the hill over there. I filmed a video bike riding around the avenues last year, and I began that video at a tiny park up there that looked across from a higher angle toward the Utah State Capitol building. That's a nice place to capture some pictures as well. Cherry blossoms tend to blossom in full bloom for about anywhere between 10 to 14 days each year. I was wondering whether these would still be colorful, because like in late March there were a couple of news reports indicating that they had just started to bloom. When I saw the pictures, it wasn't full enough. So I figured beginning of April they would be decent. I was in Cleveland viewing the solar eclipse and cherry blossoms that were in full bloom in Cleveland. But then when I was looking at Instagram trying to find people with recent posts, there were people making posts within the past 2 days that still showed a lot of luscious pink. But the difficulty in that was like, did they take these pictures a week or two ago and are just getting around to posting them now, or are these actually pictures taken from the past day or two? It's still a very nice walk. I mean, even if you're not here for the cherry blossoms, you can imagine coming here any time of the year and enjoying a walk around the park. You can see there's really, I know a lot of places with government buildings will often have certain like homeless camps or wanderers around, but that's definitely not an issue up here. And I think one of the reasons for that is because you are elevated, like it's a kind of a hill to get up here, and the houses in these areas are pretty well to do, and it's not like there are stores or restaurants or other public facilities to really use up here. So it's not really accessible, say if someone's homeless, to just like stay up here because there's nothing else for them to go to. I know down in the Utah, if you go by the library, where I think it's the county building, it's the opposite effect. You have a decent presence of homeless there. I actually parked right about here at the street level toward the road. but I walked to the front of the building before I did the video because I wanted to scout things out and get a vibe of how things were. Plus, even though I knew parking existed, I figured, oh, parking's probably a bit busier down near the front. So when I saw it wasn't too crowded down this way, took my chances and figured I would just walk. By the way, if you are enjoying this video, feel free to hit the like button and subscribe to Pokal Traveler if you haven't already. So some interesting backstory about these cherry blossom trees. I'm pulling this from an article on the Desert News website, although I think the source material is from the Capitol website. It says the 433 Yoshino cherry trees were originally sent by the Japanese to Utah as a symbol of friendship and reconciliation following World War II. And that's because in Japan, blossoming cherry trees with their rapidly appearing flowers that die within weeks symbolize the impermanence of life. But those originally donated trees and others at the Capitol were damaged or lost when a tornado struck downtown Salt Lake City in 1999. That's interesting in itself. I didn't know there was a tornado that touched down that seems to have caused a devastation. I'll have to look into that to see what other damage. Maybe, like, was it just wind that ripped trees down, or were there actually buildings that came down? Nonetheless, it says the current Yoshino cherry trees were planted during the 2004 to 2008 Capitol Restoration Project. There's cherry blossom trees here too, but let's do a brief detour to this monument over here. In valor there is hope, is what the wall says. So it appears to be something in recognition for law enforcement. Law enforcement memorial. I'm gonna snag a quick picture. And then another monument here, tribute to all Utahns who unselfishly served the cause of freedom in Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos. Names engraved on the tablets represent the diversity of Utah citizens who answered the nation's call in the same spirit as those who served in previous wars. many served in the innocence of youth. Grabbing another picture for a second. So it's just the cherry blossoms in this area that aren't necessarily in full bloom, because you can still see like other trees. I don't know a clue what they're called, but I just think of them as, you know, pretty springtime trees, like the ones with the white leaves or the bright pink colored ones. Those ones are still like full in their lush. Those will in due time turn. But though, when I saw those still in full bloom, I was like, maybe I'll catch these ones in time. This is another nice shot when you got the corner angle.
Sorry, I gotta get Lou to look up. I got her though. Good! Oh my god!
You gotta love the tactics that photographers use to try to capture the attention of the little kids or children for the perfect picture. She was using like a little alligator stuffed animal and also amusing phrases. That brings us back to where we started the video. But now let's do a walk just close to the front. Again, I'm not going to go inside for this video. This is more about enjoying the beautiful outdoor scenery. Beehive is a symbol of industry, motto of citizens of Utah, presented to the state of Utah by the Utah Copper Division. And then we're going to go ahead and climb to the top of the stairs here, and then I'll turn around and do a picture or a panoramic view of looking outward. There you go, right in the center.
Here we go!
This would actually be right in the center. Well, let's start off on the left here and slowly pan to the right. You can actually see the Utes, Utah University down over there toward that way, closer to the mountains. The zoo would be over in that area too, although you don't think you can see it here, as well as the botanical garden. And then some of the taller buildings for the downtown area. One of the newer skyscrapers is that hotel right there, the glass that's outside the conference center. And the crane you see there, we're still doing construction on the temple, which should be concluded in a couple of years. And then that way you have the highway, probably I think the I-15, as well as I don't think you can see the airport here, although I know it is in the distance down that way. But yeah, if you enjoyed this walk around the Utah State Capitol, showing somewhat of a glimpse of what the cherry blossoms were, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you next time.